Three, two, one.
Well, sometimes you gotta cut a motherfucker. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Franchise Deep Dive with Jake and Josh, the podcast where we break down, dissect, and discuss all of your favorite and least favorite movie franchises. I'm Jake.
And I'm Josh.
And today we are closing out our John Wick franchise deep dive, talking about John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and John Wick Chapter 4. And as to not mince words and to get right into things, let's start with John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, again directed by Chad Stahelski, released in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just pull up the budget real quick. A cool 75 mil and a box office return of 327.7 mil. Josh, do you happen to know the Rotten Tomatoes score? And if not, would you like to guess?
I am going to say a 93.
Had to close my door. Sorry. Sorry, what was the guess?
I'm going to say a 93.
A 93. Close, but no cigar. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum has a 89%. Which is the same as the last movie. So, nice little consistent score there from Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, so this one picks up pretty much directly where the last one kind of leaves off, but I'll read the IMDb synopsis real quick. That way we can get a nice little starting point for those full spoilers, guys, for this movie and Chapter 4. I don't think we said it at the beginning of last episode, but if you don't know, if you're new here, we spoil the hell out of these movies. We talk about all of the plot details, scenes, and all that good stuff. But John Wick 3 starts with John Wick is on the run after killing a member of the International Assassin's Guild, and with a $14 million price tag on his head, he is the target of hitmen and women everywhere. So, like I said, this movie kind of picks up directly where the last film kind of left off. John Wick is excommunicadoed after killing Santino D'Antonio in the Continental of New York, which is, of course, against the rules of the International Assassin's Guild. So he has a bounty on his head of $14 million, but as Josh mentioned in last episode, Winston gives him an hour to get away, kind of gives him a little head start. And the movie kind of kicks off extremely quickly with a rather fun action sequence and kind of a trend when talking about these movies, but the action even more elevated this time around, bigger set pieces, more kills, a lot of different variety in the types of action sequences, which is a nice step up from the last movie. But I guess I'm just kind of curious, because I know you had seen all these movies prior to kind of rewatching them for the podcast, but I'm just curious what your first impression is, I guess, on this rewatch.
Honestly, the same exact as my first watch. I wanted to ask you how much you remember of like your experience watching this in theaters.
I just remember loving this movie. I know we had talked about, I don't know if we went into much detail on our experiences talking about the second film in the last episode, but I know we kind of talked about our history when the first movie came out. But I've been a big fan of these movies since the first one, so just seeing each one in theaters was always just such a treat. It's like, all right, it's time. It's time for the next John Wick. And I remember seeing this one and just honestly being so fucking blown away by so many of the different action set pieces. How I think this movie had come out in, like I said, 2019, and I think I saw the most movies. No, that's not true. In 2015, I saw the most movies because I was working at the theater at the time, so I saw like every single thing. But a close second would be 2019 because I had the AMC app on my phone, and I was staying in Philly that summer because I went to school there. And every Tuesday, AMC had $6 movies, and I didn't work on Tuesdays because I worked at this little Mexican restaurant 3 days a week just to pay rent. And so every Tuesday I would go, and then John Wick 3 came out, and my God, again, just every single action scene in this movie is just so distinct and so memorable. They again, like, one of our criticisms of the last movie is that repetition in the action. A lot of it boils down to a nice, nice, well choreographed hand-to-hand fight scene, or John Wick shooting a lot of guys in the head. You know, there's not a lot of variety in that. But in this one, you just get so many different
They just go
little
like they go samurai style in so many of these fights.
Well, like even starting off, like you have like John Wick, and he runs into this stable with horses. And this is where I feel like the John Wick franchise really kind of takes the action and says, let's have as much fun with this as possible.
Yeah.
Because John doesn't have a weapon, so he uses the horse by aiming its back legs in the direction of one of the bad guys' heads and then slaps its ass, so it just jack kicks the guy in the head.
That looks so painful.
Oh, instant kill. You get like from there, I think he runs into this, or I don't know if this is before or after, but there's a sequence towards the beginning when he's trying to escape New York because all of the assassins are after him now, and he runs into this, it looks like this like old-timey like weapons room with like, you know, nothing of like the modern century, but like all these old-timey guns, and it takes him like a full 2 minutes just to load one bullet into the gun just so he can get that initial kill off to get that guy's gun. But you get this sequence where he's like throwing knives and tomahawks and axes at these guys, and sorry, I'm kind of ranting, but there's so much to talk about in this movie. What was like, I guess your, you know, kind of, do you remember seeing this for the first time in theaters? Or
I certainly do.
Yeah.
So I got a little confession to make here. Very silly of me. I don't know why I did this. I saw this before too.
Really?
Isn't that some shit? I said in the last episode I did not see the second one in theater. I just didn't watch it. And I don't know why. I think like when the second one came out, I was kind of like, even though I liked the first one, I don't know. I was like, maybe like indirectly protesting it, or like, I mean, I did want to see it because I was like, there's no way it's gonna be good. Like, why are we doing a sequel? I didn't need it. Like, I was just kind of annoyed, but I was hearing nothing but great things. But then it left the theater, and I didn't really have a chance to see it. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then the third one came out, and I was like, okay, I need to see the second one.
Yeah.
And then actually, this was because it came out. I was looking up when it came out. It came out in May of 2019. I quit the theater in March of that year, so I couldn't see it for free anymore. But our friend Quinn, who also worked with us at the movie theater, he still worked at the one where he was a manager there. So one night he was closing the building, and I just went to like hang out with him. And you know, Northampton would close at like 1 a.m. every night, even on weeknights. So he was like, Josh, you want to watch John Wick with me after my shift? I was like, what, you just gonna play it? Like, he's like, yeah, I'll start it up on the projector. I'll just like, I know how to do that. I was like, oh, all right, cool.
Oh, sweet.
I never did that before at my theater. Maybe I just never had the urge to. Yeah. So it's like 1:30. Actually, it's probably like 1:32 in the morning after he got done with everything and everyone left the building. He locked it up, and we started at like 2 in the morning, and just it was such a fun experience. And I asked him, I was like, now do I need to see, like, I know I probably should see the second one. He was like, I mean, I'll fill you in. He's like, this is what happens. Now let's watch the third. I was like, all right, let's go. So that was kind of crazy that because I don't usually do that, but that was a fun ass experience. Just having that whole theater to ourselves. Ended at like 4 in the morning. We ended up hanging out till like the sun came up. It was it was a real nice night.
That's a nice memory.
But fun ass time. I just remember like looking over at him occasionally. It was just like, I remember the scene where they're throwing the knives, and he like stabs the guy in the eye. He like slowly enters the blade, and Quinn just like, cringing. And then I think he even jumped. I think he jumped when John like throws the axe at the guy's head. Like, so this movie definitely is a lot more brutal in its kills.
It
like
definitely
a lot more.
steps up the violence. And it's so funny that you brought that specific scene up, because I didn't really mention it. I had just assumed that these movies were probably going to be on HBO Max because they're Warner Brothers, right? Like, isn't that the studio? Or I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I thought they were on HBO Max, or at the very least like Netflix or something. These are not on any of like the main streaming services for free. And so I watched the first and second one on YouTube TV, and they were edited for TV for like AMC, like the network AMC.
That sucks.
And I don't think I noticed any kind of monitoring or toning down the violence in terms of the kills in those movies. But it was funny because John Wick would, kill every single guy he sees, like by shooting them in the head or stabbing them to death or whatnot, choking them to death, all sorts of different murderous ways. But anytime the characters would say the word fuck, it would either edit it out, how like they edit it out for TV, they just like blank it out, or when they would curse in Russian and the subtitles would come up on the screen, it'd be a black bar above it. And all I could think was, oh, okay, so it's fine to show John Wick shooting every single guy in the head, but God forbid, the word fuck is shown or heard. But then I started watching the third one again on YouTube TV, and it was that scene specifically where he was slowly pushing the knife into the guy's eye, and it cut. And then I was like, wait a minute, So I went to Amazon Prime and I rented it for $4 and went back and rewatched that scene. And I was like, all right, now this is... And it also worked out nicely because I don't know if Amazon Prime is 4K or not, but the picture quality on Amazon Prime just looked way, way better. The sound was way better than watching it on YouTube TV. So I ended up just caving and doing that for this one and for Chapter 4. But yeah, it was that specific scene because I remember seeing it in theaters, and I remember like having like a more visceral physical reaction when the knife goes into his eye, and just like the clean fluidity of the way he throws that axe into the guy's head to end the scene is just so... I hate to say it because it makes me sound like a caveman and very animalistic, but it's just so satisfying the way that it just like lodges into his head, the sound it makes. Top tier stuff, top tier sound editing. I don't own the fourth one. I just own the first three. And I have like the digital code logged into my my Voodoo. They changed Voodoo. It's not called Voodoo anymore. It's called Fandango at Home. Really?
Yeah, it's stupid.
I need to look into that because years ago, when I was a youngster, I was actually against physical copies and I would buy stuff digitally. So for a fact, I own Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane, X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, and one other thing on my old Voodoo account. Do you think I'd be able to get into that?
Yeah, why not? Reset the password.
I don't think I have that email anymore. Man.
What's weird is I used to be the opposite. So like I've been collecting movies a long time, and it always came with the digital code. I feel like so many of my movies came with it. Yeah. And I didn't understand what that was. Like I didn't know what that was. I think I knew what it was, but I was like, oh, I don't need that. I have the copy right here.
We should start. I think I would. Did you ever use them?
I eventually like wised up, and I was like, why the fuck? I think I would throw them out sometimes.
We should start.
Fucking stupid.
We should start using them and giving them away on the show. Like, you ever seen those YouTube videos where it's like first person to use this code gets this movie for free digitally? Because I don't think for any of my Blu-rays that I ever use the digital code for those. Like, ever.
Really?
Yeah, I have something to play the Blu-ray. So what do I need? What do I want? A more compressed version of the movie?
Do they compress it on there?
Yeah. Yeah, anything digital that has to stream, you're going to have a compressed version.
Oh, I guess.
That's why, like, I think, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I vaguely remember hearing that, like, the best audio quality for any sort of, like, physical media in terms of, like, music is a CD. Like, a CD
really?
Yeah, it's better than a vinyl, and, like, when you're listening to something digitally, especially if you're on, like, Spotify or something, you're getting, a really compressed version of that file.
I wonder why a CD over a vinyl. I always thought it was vinyl that like had a little better like.
Well, CD is just like an improved technology. Vinyl is like, there is like a lot of people like the vinyl sound just because of like its specific like aesthetic. Like it has that kind of warmer tone to it. You get a little bit of that fuzziness with it.
It's kind of like people that like film over like digital, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way. I love when a movie's shot on film. The colors are usually just so much richer. But I will say, I guess looping that kind of into John Wick, I really like the look of this movie. I think a lot of the usage of color is really nice. They don't do anything outside of the action. The non-action scenes they're shot fine, but there is a lot of nice composition, a lot of nice framing choices. Because they improve the budget significantly. You get even better production design. I love the whole like ballet studio. Where John you get a little bit more of John's backstory, where he visits this family because he needs a passage or a ticket to get to where do they end up? I think it's Casablanca, right? That's where they end up going.
Morocco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where he goes to visit Halle Berry and whatnot. Which I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Halle Berry in this movie?
Just as a character?
Just all, like, what do you think? Like, what do you think of her inclusion? Do you like her character? Or?
Yeah. So it's very brief, but I think it gives you like enough to kind of build John's history, I think. So they don't say like what happened between them, right? Like why there's so much animosity from her to him, like why she is so mad at him. Do they talk about that? Because they were friends, right? Like they were colleagues, I thought.
I think she's just mad that he's showing up after being excommunicadoed, and she knows that he's about to like pull the marker on her. Which we should, I guess we should bring up quickly. I kind of mentioned it in last week's episode, but very similar into the way that John got roped into killing Santino's sister through the life marker. John also has a life marker for Halle Berry's character, and he needs her help.
Yeah, no, I do like her inclusion a lot. I think it gives like enough of like a side character where it doesn't feel just like placed in, which I'll kind of go into like 4 a little bit. Some issues I had there. She doesn't command a lot of the like storyline. It doesn't like deviate too much, but no, I think it was a nice addition. Whether it was to potentially get a spin-off character, I don't know, but no, I think it does more like world building subtly, kind of.
Yeah. I know. I kind of agree with that.
And she's engaging to watch fight. Like everyone fucking trains hard for these movies. Like everyone's training really hard. She actually learned how to train dogs for like 6 months apparently for this movie. It said like 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. So that was a nice little interesting fun fact. Everyone's just giving it like their all for this movie. It sounds like to be as authentic as possible.
Yeah, I actually remember reading that like she had really wanted to be in this film, and I think it was Chad Stahelski or maybe one of the producers who said like, hey, like, do you know how like, there's a lot of training and prep work that goes into being in one of these movies? And she said like she really wanted to do it. She was really dedicated to it, and like you already highlighted how much training she underwent. And I absolutely love the incorporation of her 2 dogs in the movie. I think that's one of the best action sequences in the movie. You get this whole shootout scene. I forget the actor's name, but for Game of Thrones fans, he plays Bronn in Game of Thrones. But John needs her help to get to him. He needs to, because I think he's trying to like ask for a way to get to the person who sits at like the top of the high table or the high council or whatever.
The elder.
The elder, yes. Yeah. So he needs help getting to him, and when they get there, this huge shootout breaks out because Bronn from Game of Thrones ends up shooting one of Halle Berry's dogs. Now, the dogs end up okay, so, don't fret, folks. For those of you who hated the first John Wick for what they did to the little pup, they never do that again to a dog in these movies. But he does shoot at the one dog, and this leads to Halle Berry's character engaging in this huge shootout with all these bad guys, and she ends up walking over and shooting Bronn in the face, and you get one of my favorite exchanges in these movies, and she says, "He shot my dog," and it just cuts to John, or I don't even think it cuts, but it just focuses on John, and he says, "I get it," and it's that's not the best line delivery, but I just like that. I like when these movies take just a little brief moment to add a little bit of levity to the situations and kind of infuse some comedy into the very, very violent action sequences. But yeah, I love that whole shootout with her using the dogs. Just so many long takes and unbroken cuts, and it's just extremely well choreographed. And whether it's the dogs attacking the people or just how it kind of switches back and forth from the perspective of Keanu as John Wick and Halle Berry's character, it feels like they each get their moment to shine in that fight, and she looks like she can really handle her own. And again, just similar to all the prep work that Keanu does for these movies, with Halle Berry's character, you really get a sense that it is her. It doesn't feel like a stunt double, and I'm sure they used it in some scenarios, but for most of the the sequence, it really feels like it's her doing this stuff. And it's just a testament to both of their dedication to this movie. So again, it's just really cool to see that done. But
yeah, I wonder how much more prep work went into the dogs and just like choreographing those fights with like the timing and stuff like that. Like that just seems so tough.
Oh, I can't. I wonder. I wanted to look it up and I didn't get a chance to. I ran out of time, but I was just curious, like how long it took to shoot that specific sequence, like with the dogs.
There was a lot of issues because where they were in Morocco, there was like hundreds of stray cats all over the streets. Mm-hmm. So they would have to clear them out, but their presence was like I think it made it more difficult for the dogs, I think.
Yeah.
To have the scenes play out, have them
I think I had read somewhere that they ended up having to hire, it was like somewhere around like 30 cat wranglers just to grab the cats and to keep them contained at night. And for anyone wondering, they didn't like abuse or anything. They actually ended up feeding and giving the animals like food and water, the cats that they had collected, and then like during the daytime when they weren't filming, they would like let them go. So they treated the cats around Morocco very, very nicely. But
Halle Berry also, she broke 3 ribs. I don't know if you read that too.
Yes, that was going to be my comment from the last episode when I was talking about the whole. I had a fact about the ribs. It was that she broke 3 ribs, but you beat me
she's
to
definitely
it.
She's definitely doing a lot of her stunts in these fights.
And Halle Berry's an interesting one because she has been in some truly terrible films. I mean, like Catwoman is awful.
Gothica? That's another one, right?
Oh, I don't know if I've seen Gothica.
I think. But
I also think that Halle Berry is a pretty good actress when she's given the right role and when she's, in a movie that's not terrible. And I think she's very good in this movie, not just through the action sequences, but her little kind of dialogue exchange with John before they get into that shootout, I think is really good. She conveys emotion pretty well. I don't know. I like her character.
Shows him up. She shows him up, I think.
I like how when he first walks in the room, she shoots him. I think that's a good way to introduce your character. I will say it is funny, though, that you didn't watch the second one before watching this one, because I think out of any of the 2 movies in this franchise, 2 bleeds into 3 the most. Like
I know. I was so mad about that.
Oh, I had to highlight. I loved how the furnace scene was shot. I think it was so you're introduced to, what is she called? Adjudicator. It's this this short-haired woman who she, I guess, works for the High Council. She's called Adjudicator, and she's the one who comes in and kind of gives Winston grief for not killing John in the last movie and giving him that hour to escape and everything. And I think it's her, but she meets with Winston. Right. Yeah, it is, because she wants to see Santino's body, and so they kind of go to this like crematorium area, this huge furnace, and I just really liked how the scene was lit. Like, it looks like a lot of just natural lighting with just like the glow, the orange glow of the furnace hitting the side of their face. Meanwhile, there's like no other light source in the room, so I just thought that was like a really aesthetically pleasing scene.
I was gonna say with just to go back in the beginning. With some of the fights that happen, I'm going to talk about the library in a second, but the whole like blade fight where you like puts it in the guy's eye, no music in that whole fight, and you can really like feel so much more intensity in just like the sound work overall. But I love just all that like knife handling. I don't know, I don't know how they really did all that with, because they throw a lot of fucking knives. I love when he's like throwing him on the guy and he's like pinning him down on the ground.
Yeah,
He just throws one at his head. But yeah, that one is one of my favorite fights in the whole franchise. It's just that early fight.
It's a nice bit of like diversity because kind of like what we talked about, like a lot of the first two movies, hand to hand shooting, and then in this one you get that like it's a range fight, but also you have, because it is knives, there is that close quarters aspect to it as well. So you get a nice like kind of dichotomy, like when there is distance, John's just throwing the knives at them, just like pinpoint precision too. And like we mentioned, the scene kind of caps off with that just so satisfying axe to the guy's head right after that really just gruesome eye stab. It's worth it when I specifically logged out of YouTube TV and went to Amazon Prime and rented the movie just so I could get like the full effect of that scene. That's a testament to how cool it is. Hey, yeah, it is what it is, and I did what I did, and I don't feel bad about it. This is the one, I think I talked about it a little bit last episode, but it's in this one where there's the action scene where John and the two nearest goons, they run out of ammunition all simultaneously, and it's just a race to see who can reload faster, and John is able to reload faster than both guys and just quickly caps both of them in the head, which is, I don't know why, but it's just so funny. That's during the shootout with Halle Berry's character. One scene that made me laugh out loud was I forget who calls them. I think we briefly brought him up in the last episode. But the one Asian character, he's kind of like the main baddie henchman of this movie, who's hired by. Is that his name?
Yeah.
What's the actor's name? Because I feel like I've seen him in something else. I wanted to look up who he was.
Mark Dacascos.
And what's his character's name?
Zero. Yeah, so you have Zero, and he's kind of like how I had mentioned. The first John Wick is the one that really doesn't have like that main physical antagonist. Whereas in the second one, you kind of have Common, you have Ruby Rose as kind of like these little boss fights that just make the movie a little bit kind of video gamey, but like in a fun way. In this one, you have his character. Have you ever seen either of the Raid movies, like the Raid Redemption or Raid 2? I saw both.
Did you know that the one how it kind of. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I know the one guy is in Raid, I think, with the ponytail, isn't he?
He's in both of them as different characters, but in the first one, he plays Mad Dog. He's the one that fights the two brothers in like probably the best fight scene in that movie. So I thought that was really cool to include him.
Not the one with the braid, right? The one with the ponytail, I think, because there's two guys. There's one that has like.
Are they both in it?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. I know the one guy is with the facial hair, I think.
Yeah. I just remember him. I know he's in the second Raid movie as well, but I more so remember him as Mad Dog in the first one.
Yeah, that's what sounds familiar to me. I can't remember him in Raid 2.
He shows up as a different character, like which is always kind of strange. But either way, I love. You got a lot more like sword fights in this one because you kind of bring in like these like ninja assassins, which is just again like you have that like super well choreographed fight sequences, but now you're just adding the blades in. You get like the clashing of the blades still mixed in with that gun fu of the first movie, and it's like they're taking so much of like that first and second movie in terms of like the action and just like blending it all together, but also still adding new stuff to the pot. It's just a start to finish, it's just like a really really fun action movie.
Yeah, and if like so we were talking about how impressed we were with how well the production design was in the second one with like the hall of mirrors kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the structure that they built in the end was so they that glass wall set took they spent $4 million to build that.
No shit.
And they allowed Keanu to just like destroy the whole thing when he like falls through every piece of glass known to man. But dude, that just looks so good with like the and it was like really like psychedelic. I don't know, like they were like project like from the screen to it just like it just looked so crisp.
Well,
But
what I love too is I love Winston, the reason why, like he describes why that room, they have that kind of room, and he says because they like the room is for specific occasions where you need to see what your enemy is holding under the table, because it's like
I didn't remember that.
yeah, it's when John is walking up to him,
It's when he
that's
decides
like
to like not kill him, right?
yeah. So I don't know if we mentioned it, but John he is found by the elder, and the elder gives him a task to have his freedom. He must kill Winston, and
Why does the elder? I guess why does the elder want? Just because he like broke rules of the table?
Yeah, so I think because he is like a manager at the Continental, he does have like a pretty prestigious, kind of title there. And I also think it's because he probably is aware of the friendship between John and Winston. And so John doing this is probably proof that John is willing to work with the High Council in a sense. Like, that makes sense to me. I don't know. I might be kind of reaching there, but
And why does John decide not to?
I think just because Winston's been good to him. They've been homies.
Do they acknowledge that? Does he?
I mean, to be fair, Winston, I don't know if he's being manipulative or if he's speaking from the heart, but that encounter with John, and that's where he says the line, like, about, in reference to the room, about needing to see what your enemy's holding under the table, obviously, because the floor, is reflective. But he even says, like, that, the adjudicator gave him an ultimatum. Like, not even an ultimatum, he's told that he has to find new affairs, and he's not going to be the manager of the New York Continental anymore. And as mentioned in the last episode, Winston loves the Continental, man. He loves that hotel more than anything. So he obviously knows he can't go against John. John is basically the Grim Reaper at this point. And he has that one line that I thought, I was like, I don't know if he's speaking from the heart or if he's just being manipulative, but he says that he would rather die by the hand of a friend than that of an enemy. And it's in reference to John. And I don't know if it's in that moment, but, I do like the moment, though, where the adjudicator kind of arrives on the scene, and she's like, so, have you decided to kill John Wick? And he's like, no, I think... Or no. She asks him if he's willing to step down as the manager of the hotel, and he says no. And then she looks at John, and she's like, "And have you decided to put a bullet in his head?" And John says, "No, I don't think I have, or I will." And she's like, "Okay," and just turns around and makes a phone call, and then you kick off, I guess, kind of like the big final action sequence of the movie. But
that's my question is, like, when he, because the whole thing is that he goes to the elder to lift his excommunicated status, right? And he says, "Okay, I do this. You kill Winston." So when he doesn't kill Winston, how do they address that?
What do you mean?
Consequence to him, like, breaking his word with the elder?
The end of the movie. That's kind of like, yeah. I mean, the adjudicator is like, that's the whole, like, I think the implication is that the adjudicator,
because I never know how much is like directly from the elder, because they like stress that the elder is above the. Well, I guess so that they all work for the elder.
Well, the elder is like the top of the High Council, and so when John and Winston refuse to, carry out their tasks, that's when they send in like the waves of enemies. They send in like, it's very video gamey. It's like they're like fighting off hordes of different like goons and waves of enemies, which is just provides. I love too, though, when all the lights turn out in the Continental, that you have like that very harsh green lighting, which I just feel like has to be like an homage to the Matrix, right?
Probably.
Which is not the only one, because every time you see the computer screen of different people who work for the, like, I don't know who pays them, but they work like in the realm of the international assassin world, like the people on the computers, it's always like short-haired women with like a bunch of sleeves of tattoos. Well, the screens that they're on look like the screens from the Matrix.
It definitely is, because I think I actually forgot to mention this in the first one, but his friend, Yosef's friend that's playing the video game, someone pointed out that I think the character's name, it says Neo in the video game.
Yes, his screen name is Neo.
Yeah. So
little references here and there.
Yeah, it's probably one to every movie with the Matrix.
But yeah. So I mean, basically, John and Sharon gets his kind of moment in this movie. Him and John kind of defend the Continental, and it leads me to one of my favorite moments because some of the enemies that they send in after John and after Winston are they're wearing like a bunch of very like bulletproof protection, like the helmets, and it's the pistols, it's not working, and John's like, I like, they're like they have like armor-proof bulletproof vests or whatever, and Sharon just walks in, grabs a shotgun after the off the wall, and pulls up a shotgun shell, and he's like, armor piercing, sets it on the table, and him and John go out with the shotguns, and I was very cool.
When that part happened,
yeah,
I was mostly laughing because like John enters the vault first, and then Sharon is just like, he's marching in there, takes off his jacket so aggressively. He looks fucking pissed about it.
Sharon is just one of the best characters in these movies. He just has such little screen time, but that's why I love in this one where he really gets his moment to shine. He proves to be a pretty worthy companion to John in this movie. They're taking out all those enemies together. But that leads to some really good hand-to-hand knife combat, and that is Zero's two henchmen, one of them being the dude from the Raid movies. They fight John, and they're kind of kicking his ass at first, and I think it's fun because you get this kind of and you don't really get it in the first or second one. You get a lot of like fear about the name John Wick and the person of John Wick, but in this movie you get a little bit of admiration from
it's
these
complete
people.
It's complete like fandom with these guys.
Yeah.
Like they just want to be in a fight with them.
Yeah, they're almost honored to be able to fight John Wick and to be the one to kill him.
Do they take that a little too far? Was my question. Was with like, do they even want to kill him? I kind of like was getting confused. Like obviously that's what they're supposed to want to do.
Yeah.
But I wasn't buying into them wanting to kill him.
No, I mean maybe it's a little goofy, maybe it's a little cartoonish, but it worked for me. I liked that fight scene. I liked them kind of kicking his ass for a little bit and then just like letting him get up. And then he chooses to, I think he uses his belt to fight the two guys because they have like knives and stuff. And
I like
again,
when they like, it looks like they try to help him up, and he just puts
he's
his
like,
hands up. He's like,
I got it.
I got it. Just give me a second.
Yeah. And then I love that fight. Like a nice 2-on-1 fight is always cool. I don't know. It's just again, it's very well choreographed. You could see the effort and preparation that Keanu put into it, as well as the other two guys. And then obviously you got that final fight in the movie with Zero and John Wick. And it's really great. It's very well paced. Again, the choreography is just top notch from both Keanu and the actor who plays Zero. I love the ending of that fight because John manages to essentially put a sword through Zero, and Zero in his kind of like dying moments has this little moment where he's like, "Oh, that was a pretty good fight, wasn't it, John?" And you get one of John's famous, "Yeah."
Yeah. But it was like kind of sad too, because like this guy, he was just like,
yeah.
It looked like he was so focused on like just fighting next to his like, it looked like his hero.
Yeah.
Honestly, like he's like huge fan of him. That like, I don't know, it was just like his reality was completely like gone, where he like wasn't really grasping the fact that he was dying. He was just
he had a sword through him.
Yeah.
Probably losing brain function by the second. I love the little moment earlier on though when he's trying to and it follows my favorite action scene in the entire movie. The one that I was like so baffled by and I had to look up how they did it. Spoiler alert, CGI. But very, very good CGI. But John is chased to the Continental, and he's able to make it onto Continental Ground. Zero's about to kill him, and that's when Sharon kind of saves him and is like, "No, you can't do it." And either way, he brings him in, and John sits on the couch, and then Zero comes, and there's like 5 other spots that Zero could have sat in.
Yeah.
And he just sits right next to John, like almost leg to leg. And John just looks so annoyed, and he gets up and just walks over to the other chair and sits down. And then immediately Zero kind of looks at him, and then he gets that face of fandom, and he's like, I have to say, I'm a big fan. And he goes into like this fangirl moment where he's just like saying all the stuff that he loves about John and how he's honored to fight him, and trying to like draw parallels between between the two of them, which John shuts down immediately. I think he's a really fun character. He's a really fun addition to this universe, and I really like how they utilize him in the movie, because he feels threatening. Like when him and his ninja crew are going around, they are like full on Assassin's Creed, like emerging from the shadows. They're going against guys with like rifles and shotguns and guns, and they're just using swords and like incapacitating them in like seconds. It's super cool.
Oh yeah, and the Bowery King gets his beating from Zero, the 7 cuts.
Oh yeah, did you think he died there?
Yeah.
I remember thinking he died too. I like that though. Where is this the one where he says, "All hail the king"?
Yeah, I think so. Or long live the king, or whatever.
Or yeah, long live the king. Yeah. What is this? Oh, John cuts his finger off in this movie, so had to lose one of those.
How do you think that affected him? His fighting ability?
Clearly not at all.
Didn't look like at all. I kept
arguably
forgetting
murders
he lost the finger.
He arguably murders the most people in the next one.
Yeah. I couldn't find too much trivia about this one that felt like that.
Oh, can we? Because then I can talk about that behind the scenes and how they did it. Maybe I'd have to really pull my thoughts. Maybe the coolest motorcycle chase scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Fucking spectacular. I don't even have any like cool articulate thoughts on it. It is just fucking awesome. It is like the highway sequence from The Matrix 2, but without the shitty color grade and without the poorly aged VFX. So this is the one that I was baffled by, because you essentially have a really, really long take where John Wick is riding this motorcycle while doing combat and shooting these other motorcyclists through this like tunnel and through the streets of New York. And I just was so baffled at how they did it, because it looked so clean and so just effortless and fluid that I had to do a research before doing this episode. And so the way they were able to make it look so good was they shot the entire scene kind of practically at first, and then did the entire scene again in a fully like green screened room, even to the point where the they had the motorcycles on these pivot platforms, so that like the bike, and I know this is like a visual gag, so for those of you listening, I'm going to try to describe it the best I can, because we're not doing video yet, but you know how when someone's riding a motorcycle and they're going really fast, there's kind of a swaying motion to it. So they put these actual actors and stunt doubles on these motorcycles on these like little pivot machines that were all covered in green, obviously to green screen later on, and so that they had this like realistic swaying motion to them. And they were able to like get it looking really good too, because they had all these people in like fully green outfits like pushing them for the movements, so like to really get this like really fluid, smooth camera movement. But it was actually funny, because in the behind the scenes featurette, they cut to one of the guys who's in like the fully green suit, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, "This suit sucks." So I imagine they're not the most comfortable things to wear, but I was just blown away by that scene. I hadn't seen this movie. I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years. I don't remember loving that motorcycle scene that much, but I was just blown away upon rewatch. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like those video game motorcycle things that they.
Yeah. At like an arcade. Mm-hmm. Those are always so fun. I love a good arcade, man. Such a good time.
I always hated the motorcycle thing. I was always bad at it.
That sounds like a you problem.
It was a me problem. It seems
I'm really bad at the hunting games. You ever play those? The hunting games where you gotta like shoot
Yeah.
the deer. I guess I can't aim for shit. So
I was more of the race car guy more than the motorcycle.
yeah,
Which
race
is a
cars
lot
are
more
fun. I'm just bad at shifting. I still don't understand it. That's why I drive an automatic.
Same. I'm bad at. I can't do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lost art driving stick. My dad can drive stick. I cannot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my thoughts, I didn't really mention, I think I brought it up briefly, but I really like, in the last one, how we got to go to Rome. In this one, we get to go to Casablanca, which is a cool little location. So again, it's like a nice visual change up because, Casablanca has a little bit more of like this rustic vibe to it as opposed to like the very kind of cathedral look of Rome. So it was a nice kind of contrast, but still like a visually interesting location to go to. Still beats New York. But yeah, I don't know what else to really say about this movie. I like the plot in this one a lot more than the last one. I think it's already initially a really fun setup to have him being excommunicated. You kind of take away that crutch of the last two movies, which was him being able to go to a safe haven at the Continental, and now that kind of being stripped away, and him, in the last one he had like groups of people after him, but in this one starting off with every single known assassin in the world trying to kill him, because one of the little things that they do is they show you the current bounties on people that are, I don't know if they're all excommunicated or if these are just all the bounties, but John is at the top of the board and has the highest bounty on him. So everybody's looking for him. I just think the premise is already more of an interesting setup. You cut to the action a lot quicker. I'd have to really sit down and look at it, but it felt like a lot less downtime in this movie. And you just get elevated action sequences, better production design, better cinematography, obviously a bigger budget, and more threatening villain, better side characters. I don't know. I think it's just all around an improvement.
This might be like the more interesting straight up villain probably in the series for me. I like that he just isn't. He's not entirely like menacing. He is in his skill, but his attitude shifts so much, which makes it a little like just like more unsettling, which I appreciate. Let me see here.
It's almost like the guy who's always serious is not as threatening as the guy who is lighthearted until he's not, and is still very threatening. Like he has scary. He has that crazy side to him. Yeah.
It was fun watching this happen. Kind of pissed me off how easily that glass was breaking in that fight scene. I mean,
where he
sometimes
slams the body through the glass, or
no, not that. Like that. I mean, sure, but when they're like just kicking him in every glass structure, sometimes I think he just trips and he stumbles into like the glass and it breaks. But whatever, it was fun.
Glass is not sturdy.
Yeah, but I bumped into glass, it never broke, let alone shattered.
I don't know. I've seen videos of people walking through glass doors. You never know. You never know. It depends on the thickness of the glass.
But the let's get to the end.
So your favorite.
Yeah. So all right, the betrayal from Winston here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Does the adjudicator get a call on the roof or?
No, she so basically John and Sharon take out all the hordes of enemies. John is able to incapacitate all of the assassins that were hired by the adjudicator. I don't know if we brought that fact up, but she specifically goes to Zero and approaches him directly to hunt down John Wick. So he's kind of like the main physical threat of the movie, but John is able to defeat all of them, and that's when the adjudicator calls, I believe she calls Winston and offers up a parlay. And then cut to the parlay. I assume it's the next day or it's the next morning or whatnot, but Winston and the adjudicator are on the top of the roof. John approaches them, and if you want to describe what happens next, I know you got thoughts.
So basically, Winston he turns on him so he can get rewarded his hotel, I guess, and he shoots him. I don't even know, at least a few times,
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
He gets the Michael Myers treatment.
Yeah. Does he actually hit him, or does he block it with his suit? He probably blocks it, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, it looks, from what we understand about the suits that he wears in this, they're all lined with Kevlar, so he doesn't hit him in the face or anything. It looks like it just hits him in the body. I don't know.
So Yeah,
That's
he
not
shoots
the
him 5 or
problem.
6 times, and then he falls off the roof. He hits this one platform halfway down.
Yeah.
Slides off, still falls down, and this is I don't even know how many stories this building is, and then he
Very
fucking
high
hits
up.
this rail on this fire escape where it looks like his back cracks, and then he falls another few stories, and he just falls on concrete. It's just insane.
He genuinely bounces off 3 different things. He hits his head off a rail, and then before he hits the ground, I think he hits his head off a dumpster or something.
Yeah.
My last sorry, what were you saying?
No, I just don't that is not a hard thing to I don't care how convenient it is. I would take convenience. There's a rooftop with a mat that he landed on and he slid off. Why does it have to be so extreme of whacking his fucking head off a rail?
All I could think of, and it was actually my last note of the movie, is nope, his brain would be jelly at that point, because he hits his head so fucking hard. It is, again, I gave Josh a little bit of grief about suspension of disbelief in the last movie, but with this one, it is a little hard to overlook that ending. I do kind of agree with you on that. They could have done or found a different way. But I don't know, maybe Winston was trying to kill him. But either way, John should not have been able to survive that. It's already hard enough to believe that he doesn't have insane internal bleeding from all of the times that he gets hit with cars and stabbed in these movies and shot at. But either way, yeah, that fall at the end of this one, it is tough to overlook. I don't think
shocking.
It ruins the movie, but...
No, it doesn't ruin the movie. It's
you know what it reminds
so
me
shocking to see.
It reminds me of is it Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
Where he's losing his powers and he falls and he hits his head off 3 different objects, and I know you always have a problem with that because
compared to this,
Spider-Man.
At least he's Spider-Man. Now my problem with Spider-Man is that he's losing his powers, but some of his powers stay with him, his fucking ability to take some
I still have my defense for that, but I'll save that for another day.
Because Jake loves Raimi a little too much, but we'll move on there.
You act like that's a bad director to be a big fan.
No,
of.
It's not a bad director.
As if he hasn't made one of the best horror trilogies, one of the best comic book. Well, 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
You already lost me.
Drag Me to Hell is great too. I love Drag Me to Hell. Huh?
Yeah, I like it. I don't love it.
I don't know if I've seen his Wizard of Oz movie. Maybe I have. I don't know.
Shit, that was him.
Yeah,
Oz the Great and Powerful. I heard that was garbage.
Yeah, I heard that's not good. I still
probably
kind of
really
like
like it,
Multiverse of Madness. That's a fun enough movie.
But anyway, yeah, it's like Spider-Man 2, but worse. Because not only is he not Spider-Man, but he has a much more insane fall than Spider-Man. It's just I don't know. You're just don't do that. Just make it a little bit. This movie's so grounded. A lot of the time, in it's fighting, it's not
I don't know. I definitely think I think each of them progressively get more outlandish, but I do agree that other than maybe this fall, it never gets in the realm of being too outlandish. But I think this one more than the last two. The fights are a little bit more comedic at times, I guess.
In this one?
Yeah, it's silly that he uses a horse to kill 2 guys. In the first movie, think about the tonal contrast from the first movie to the third one. In the first movie, it's look how cool this guy is, and when he's showering, he's cool, and when he's driving his Mustang, he's cool, and he's got a cool car, and he stands all cool. And then in this movie, in the first 8 minutes, he's riding a horse through the streets of New York. It's goofy. It's goofy, but it's fun.
All right, that's fun, but it's not actually, if anything, that's pretty grounded. That's a classic way of transportation. What do you mean? That's
just riding a horse through New York.
But no, I'm saying in the fight sequences, they don't ever feel sometimes when people are getting shot in the stomach and still living, I don't like that, because that's almost an instant death, I think, when you get shot in the stomach.
No, they always say that getting shot in the stomach or stabbed in the stomach, it's one of the most painful, but you are more likely to survive. because there's not a lot of
heard
like
the opposite. I've always heard a shot in the
because
stomach
it's one of the most painful. Don't you remember Reservoir Dogs? When he's lying in the back seat of the car and Harvey Keitel says, no, like getting shot in the stomach, it's one of the most painful, but you're more likely to survive.
I think that's incorrect.
No, it would make sense to me. It might not be true, but like logistically it makes sense because you don't have a lot of major arteries in your stomach.
I remember, like, first off, I remember my one teacher was like talking about, it was my history teacher, and he was talking about,
so not your health teacher.
Not my health teacher. No, but he was talking about getting like a shot in the stomach because it was when we were doing research on Jack Ruby and stuff like that, and like the Kennedy assassination. And when he kills Oswald, he shoots him in the stomach, and my teacher was like, getting shot in the stomach, that's like an instant like death. You don't die instantly, but that's like it's really hard to survive a shot in the stomach.
All right, I lied. You were right. I looked it up. The mortality rate from abdominal gunshot wounds remains high due to the high velocity, penetrating abdominal trauma, and potential shock from damage to organs and interperitoneal vascular extravasation. I was doing really good till that last word. That last
yeah,
one
I think next to like a headshot, I think it's like the most lethal place to get shot.
All right. Well, now that changes the context completely for Reservoir Dogs. Whatever. But either way, no, I agree. I think in these movies, like they do go, even like going back to the second one, you know, the really big chunky Asian dude who tries to kill John when the contract is put out, like he gets shot genuinely through the top of his head.
Yeah, it's not like it grazed his brain. It's like a direct shot in the middle of the top of his head.
He puts the end of the barrel to the top of his head and pulls the trigger. But no, I don't know. Again, like I think. I see where your kind of criticisms lie there, but for me, it never. I don't think it inhibits my score with these movies. Maybe it does kind of take away for you, but I think within the world of these movies, I guess the well done technical aspects, the world building, the fun side characters, the improved set design, even some of the non-action scenes that are shot really well or lit really well. I think how am I trying to phrase this? The movie does more good than it does bad.
Oh, I agree. That's why these get really good scores.
So would you say that they're actual criticisms that do kind of hurt your score, or would you say that they fall into the camp of like minor criticisms or nitpicks that don't really detract?
They are minor, but I do try to take everything into like consideration a little bit. It doesn't detract the score that much, but I don't know. I think when you get so ridiculous, it does like a little bit detract from the experience. It doesn't detract from my enjoyment. Yeah. But you know, if I'm trying to like grade a little bit objectively, and you're kind of like, I get you're having fun with it, and that's fine. Like it's not. Yeah. So am I. It. You know, I just try to be fair and be like hold it accountable a little bit, because like you can, it's such an easy thing to like work around too. I get sometimes you can't glue everything to like believability to such an extreme, but stuff that there's certain things where it's like just choose another way,
just go a different route.
Like just I don't know, it more so like I don't know, it just sometimes really pisses me off.
It's because it's like not even like I disagree with your criticisms, like they are a problem in the movie. I was just wondering like how much it like impacts, because I agree with the criticisms, and I don't think it really takes away too much for me, but I do agree that they could have gone like different ways or not been so dramatic.
If it took that much away, I would give these movies like 6s.
No, like I know you enjoy these movies a lot and like rate them highly. I was just curious like how much I guess it impacts your score. Because that's always an interesting thing, is like when you agree with somebody's criticisms, but they just don't hold as much weight against your own score. Which is, you know, we've run into this multiple times throughout like just discussing different movies. Like, but either way, I'm kind of out of my thoughts on John Wick Chapter 3. If there's any other. Oh, I do like, speaking about the title of the movie, it being the only one to add on like an extra word, that being parabellum. I had like I think it was like a little fun fact about it. Oh no, I didn't have a fun fact about that. I know they say it in the movie, is one of the lines that's spoken by Ian McShane's character, Winston. I think it's when he says, I think the phrase kind of translates to, if you want peace, prepare for war. And it's like this old, I don't know if it's Latin or Italian, but the play.
Yeah, it's Latin.
So when John goes to get his transportation, the play that they're putting on is Tale of Two Wolves, which has a little bit of, I think, applicability to the overall themes of the movie. Because a lot of what, again, these movies kind of deal with is like, where do you see this ending, John? Like, what are you fighting for? That's the conversation he has with the elder. Like, the elder's like, why do you continue fighting on? Like, why do you want to keep living? And John's answer is to remember his wife, to live in her honor and to remember her. But The Tale of Two Wolves is a story often attributed to Cherokee or other indigenous American people, and uses a metaphor of inner battle between good and evil, with the moral being that the one you feed is the wolf that'll win. And I just thought that was kind of an interesting tie-in to the themes of this movie of like John wants so desperately to be out, but continues to feed that wolf inside of him that is a part of this world. He continues to kill, continues to murder, and continues to sink deeper, and essentially is feeding that wolf inside of him, and that's the one that's winning, and that's the John Wick we keep getting. So I just thought that was kind of like some cool thematic relevance there. But
yeah, it's a good note you got there.
Yeah. I could be completely wrong and totally looking and interpreting that wrong.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was just curious, because there was times throughout these movies, the first one being, we didn't really talk about it, but he has a tattoo. I mean, he has lots of tattoos, but he has a big tattoo on his back, and it says, what is it again?
Oh, I forget what it translates to.
I know what it translates to, but I want to know like what the I actually didn't write that down, but he has this saying written on his back, but it translates to fortune favors the bold. And if John Wick ain't bold, then I don't know what that the definition of bold is. But yeah, do you have any more thoughts on this one, or scenes or characters you'd like to discuss, or shall we move on?
I think that's all. That's all the notes I have for this.
Yeah. Right on.
I wonder how hard that was to hang on to that horse when he was like riding the side of it.
Knowing Keanu, probably not hard at all. Probably he trained for months, and he's like a master class horse rider.
The people that trained him were like saying he's like at a point where he could like train us probably. Like,
I fully believe it.
Yeah.
Now it makes me wonder, like if like an apocalypse did really happen, like I feel like Keanu Reeves would fare really well for himself. Like I know he's a nice guy in person, but like with all this weapons training, he's probably a threatening dude. I could see that.
You know what? Before I understood like different like tactical methods or like ways to hold your gun, it always annoyed me how he held his gun, but I didn't realize that that's actually like that's how you would hold a gun for like speed and like agility. I think.
One thing that was cool that I forgot to mention about the first one in regards to last week's episode, and it translates to all of these movies. If you'll notice, he turns his watch to the inside of his wrist.
Oh yeah,
and that's like an actual tactic that people will use in warfare, as to be able to tell the time when you're holding like a rifle or a shotgun, and B, as to not show reflections in the mirror to give away your position and location, or like from a distance, like the sunlight or whatever. So I thought that was kind of a cool little detail.
Yeah, damn. I think I even wrote that down. I just completely forgot to read it.
Yeah, it was.
And he does wear it different ways when he's like when he's like driving his car. It's like it's worn with the time faced up. So yeah, nice little detail they put in there.
Kind of at least my last little thing to discuss, and then I'm personally ready to move on, but when he goes to visit the woman who runs the ballerina school, I thought that was kind of interesting to bring up, because soon we will be getting our first John Wick spin-off, the film called Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas. So I'm very interested in seeing how that plays out. Unfortunately, Chad Stahelski is not the director of the film. I'm not sure how much of the same crew from the John Wick franchise is kind of carrying over into the spinoff, but we'll just have to see. I'll discuss it with Josh. Maybe we'll think about doing a bonus episode that will just kind of drop randomly that you guys can listen to if you're a fan of this episode, and obviously the last one. But Yeah, nice. I like that little bit of lore, a little bit of world building, how he has to get the passage, to get to Casablanca and whatnot and escape New York. I like seeing like how it's like, this little ballerina school, but then you got like separate rooms where they're training. You got that little moment where the woman asks John if he's, like fond memories or reliving old memories or whatever she says. But a lot of cool little world building. Either way, any other thoughts, or shall we move on?
I'm ready for 4.
All right, guys, we'll be moving on to John Wick Chapter 4 in just one moment. Just hold tight during this commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, thank you for holding during that brief commercial break. We are now discussing the 4th and final John Wick film, John Wick Chapter 4, no subtitle, just Chapter 4. Again, directed by Chad Stahelski. Budget of $100 million, which is a pretty significant increase. Box office of $440 million. And Josh, would you like to take a guess at the Rotten Tomatoes score for this one?
94.
On the dot, buddy. Fourth time's
Really?
the charm. 94%.
Oh, nice. I was going to say 93, but I was like, I don't want to do the same guess as 3.
Yes.
I was either going to say 93 or 96.
And yet you nailed it. You nailed it, man. Like I said, fourth time's the charm. You were so close on the other 3, and you finally got it.
I know.
But yeah, no. So I mean, all around, bigger budget, bigger box office return, best critical reception of all 4 of the movies. And I guess we should read the. I didn't mention, but it was released in 2023, so not too long ago. I remember seeing this one in theaters too. I remember, and I had mentioned this, I was in like not a great mental state when I was seeing this movie. So I think when I first saw it, I still gave it a positive score, but I just wasn't in like a movie watching mood at that time in my life. Like everything I watched was just kind of like in one ear, out the other. So I was glad to finally return to this one.
I remember being so disappointed in Jake's opinion on this movie. He like really was. But the thing is, his score didn't really reflect how negative he was about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, different times in your life, you experience things differently. But to set the stage for this final movie, the plot goes as follows. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. Lot going on in this movie, if you ask me. We didn't mention, so not only bigger budget and all that, but a very significant increase in the runtime, as the first movie clocks in around 1:40, and 2 and 3 both clock in somewhere around 2 hours, give or take a minute or two. But this one, this baby's long. It's a long one. 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Beefy movie.
She's a girthy one.
But I just want to talk about real quick, because I don't have much to say about my first experience with it. I saw it in theaters with Lauren. I had her just watch 3, because I remember I was like, do you want to see this with me? And she was like, I haven't seen any other ones. And I really didn't feel like watching all 3, because I was like, it was like just coming out. And I was like, oh, listen, all you need to see is the 3rd one. I'll tell you the rest. So
I'll fill you in.
Yeah. But dude, this is maybe the most, if not top 3, biggest jump scares I have ever experienced in a fucking theater, to the point where I got pissed off. I was mad. Yes. When it starts and he's punching the thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't believe how I don't know if they just like if they had the volume too loud on the projector. It was so fucking loud. It like gave me a heart attack. I think I spilled half my popcorn. I couldn't believe it. I was
in the theater.
And I was actually mad. I was genuinely mad. But
was it a large popcorn or a medium?
I actually don't think I had popcorn, but if I did, it would have spilled.
Hypothetically, if there was popcorn involved, it would have been everywhere. No,
I might have pissed myself a little bit. That might have happened.
It does suck because there are times where I feel like, and this is like one of the few like negative aspects of going to a movie theater, is that you're so limited on control. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're someone like me, I don't want to say I'm a control freak, but I like being able to control my surroundings. And so sometimes it does suck at the theater where I'm all for really loud sound, but like if the movie's too quiet or it's too loud, or sometimes you go to a movie theater and the projector sucks and it's a shitty screen, you just lose a lot of the control.
Yeah.
But I do love going to theaters. I don't want people to think I don't. But that's a funny little memory with this movie.
Like Lauren was kind of annoyed too. Like she was just like she just looked over at me and she was like, Jesus Christ.
Was she annoyed that you were scared so much, or annoyed at the sound?
No, she was scared just as much as I was.
Caught you both off guard. Were
She's
you
like,
guys? Was it a packed theater? Was everybody else kind of jarred too, or?
Oh no, it wasn't that packed. It was probably like 5 people maybe behind us. I don't know.
Oh.
But yeah, man. Like if I scratched that. It was the worst. It was the worst I've experienced. Because at least with a horror movie, I'm ready. Even if it does get me, I was so relaxed waiting for this movie, black screen, and it just hits you when he fucking punches that board. No reason for it. There was no reason to get that loud with me.
Yeah. Well, all right. Maybe just don't be such an old man.
However, I wish I was an old man so I wouldn't have heard that sound.
But either way, back to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, it's a girthier movie, 2 hours and 50 minutes. But I think we were maybe discussing this a little bit beforehand. Quite possibly might be the best pacing of all 4 movies. I might go out on a limb and say it does have the best pacing of all 4 of them, despite being 50 minutes longer than the last 2.
I would not disagree with you. And best looking?
Easily.
Yeah,
Again, you really see where that increased budget goes. The sets are even more luxurious. The production design is even more, and we'll use this word again and again, but even more elevated. And it seems like every 20 minutes you're getting an action scene that in any other movie would be the best action scene of that movie. The action is so consistent and so well done.
I was so impressed, and this is what I was talking about with like the first one, how it seems kind of lazy with the color palette in a lot of parts. This one plays with color in every single part of the rainbow, and it's it's always tasteful. It's never obnoxious. Oh my god, it's like every scene is just oozing with style. When they go to I forget where they go. Where exactly is it? Where they go to the other Continental. I can't remember where that is.
Like in Japan, in Osaka.
What city is that?
Is it Osaka? Isn't that a city?
Oh yeah,
in Japan?
it is Osaka.
Because they say Osaka Continental.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
location
the
is
cherry
gorgeous.
The cherry blossom shot with the red building. I mean, we're gonna go on along this movie, but just some highlighted scenes for me in terms of just coloring. When the manager of that Continental, what is his name?
Hiroyuki Sanada, who is just he is the Japanese actor who shows up in a lot of American projects. If you have seen an American film and there's a Japanese character that's a prominent role, it's probably Hiroyuki Sanada. I forget his character name in the movie, but he's in The Last Samurai. He's in 47 Ronin. I believe he plays Scorpion in the recent Mortal Kombat movie. The guy he's been around the block a few times.
Yeah, so his fight with Kane outside, it's lit green with the lanterns, the orange reds. That was one of my favorite looking scenes in the movie. It's just so gorgeous to look at. But they have a blast with the creative department and how these shots are designed and just how the movie's colored.
It feels like in each film that the storyboarding process and just how are we going to film this and what is it going to look like after the project is complete. It just felt like each one they spent more and more time on it, and while you do feel like you can see where in the movie the budget went, you get just more elaborate shots, you get more long takes, less edits, but on top of just like that increased production design and all of that production value, and like you said, that gorgeous lighting throughout the movie and just the variety, like you said, of it.
Even like the sunrises, sunsets, it's so like vibrant.
Some of them look like paintings. Like this is a very like not just like well shot like in terms of like how the action is shot, but there's some just like really gorgeous framing in this movie that, like you said, like just the way it's lit is just so aesthetically pleasing.
I think that's what they tried to go for, because they definitely focus on the paintings in some of those art rooms. And
with the marquee.
Yeah. So that's definitely like I don't know, them like expressing the like artsy side of that. But like, what were those I forgot to look into like what those paintings were, the titles of them, what was going on in them, because they definitely linger on those a lot in that one scene.
They do, and I did a bad job too, because I did see some trivia facts that like were in reference to those paintings. I just cannot recall them. Which at some point one of us can probably just like look it up during the discussion. But so one thing that I think is, in like kind of regards to the pacing of this movie, and it, even though it being 50 minutes longer, feeling like it flies by quicker, is not just that the action is so frequent and sporadic, and there's so much diversity in just not how the combat is done, but how the scene is framed and filmed, and the choreography, the different weapons that are used. Again, just a lot of variety, not just like in the colors, but in the action sequences and the set pieces. And you can hear like the director and the stunt choreographer talking in behind the scenes interviews about how they wanted each action set piece, especially in that kind of third final act of the movie, to really feel like its own big event. So that was kind of cool to hear. But on top of just being like really good in terms of how well the action is placed throughout the movie, I think this one does the best job out of the four films of introducing such a fun and wide array of side characters. You have some we already kind of brought up Hiroyuki Sanada as this old companion of John Wick who runs the Osaka Continental. I even like his daughter in the film. I feel like she's not in it a ton, but while she's on screen, I enjoyed her presence. The actress also does a phenomenal job during the fight choreography too. She's kind of like Hawkeye. She's got like this bow and arrow, and she's like John Wick but with a bow and arrow, so that was kind of cool. You get Donnie Yen, who is quite possibly my favorite addition to the franchise, as the character of Kane, who kind of serves as the Zero of this movie, as he's like the new formidable foe that John has to kind of face down. And I wanted to look up the actor's name because I don't think I've seen him in any other projects, but you have this character only known as the Tracker, who's, when I first watched this movie, he was actually one of the characters that I wasn't really fond of and didn't really enjoy or understand his presence in the movie. But upon this rewatch, I just really enjoyed his inclusion, and like, I don't know, I just kind of I enjoy his character a lot more this time around. Let me see if I can get his name. Shamir Anderson plays the Tracker. I like his little kind of dynamic with John. He's got his own little dog, and he's really fun in some of the action sequences too. And he's got his own little gimmick. So
the Tracker character, I did like him. I think in the second half of the movie, like his presence later on in the movie, I kind of fell out of love with a little bit.
You like him? You like him better in the first half?
If anything, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't buy into like how his character kind of like is incorporated into the story. It kind of feels like shoved in there a little bit more, whereas like Kane's character feels a little bit more fitting. Mr. Nobody, it's kind of like what they call him sometimes in the movie. I don't know. That kind of felt like a character that was put in there for like spin-off potential, almost.
I can see that, yeah.
But I liked him earlier on, but
Is there a point
if
where you feel like you don't like him anymore, or you just felt like he really didn't need to be in that kind of last act?
he definitely didn't need to be in the last scene. That kind of annoyed me. I think I don't really like when he's in the last scene.
Yeah,
That felt very random.
the
and
duel.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why he was still like part of the story anymore. But I think like the house scene with that overhead shot, I think that's kind of when I started to like kind of like his shift. His shift in motivation, I guess, or like his change of heart or whatever. Then I kind of like I didn't buy into it anymore. It felt like let's put this character in that also has a dog that you can kind of like make a connection with. At least with Halle Berry, I kind of bought into that, and she had the dog too. You kind of had that little connection there.
They have that history too together, like her and John. Yeah.
This one felt like if he was taken out, I wouldn't notice a difference in the movie. So
that's fair.
That was like an issue I had, but more so in the later part of the movie.
No, I can agree with that. Where again, this movie tries to do a lot. It does throw a lot at you. It's a very sporadic movie, and while there are like some scenes of downtime, kind of tying up loose ends and whatnot, overall, I think that like I agree that you could remove him from this movie and you wouldn't particularly lose anything, but I also do like the scenes that he's in. One scene in particular that I really, really love and really enjoy, and it's just adding just a fun character to that world, is you have Scott Adkins, who is really famous in the world of martial arts films and movies that are about fighting or MMA. If you guys have seen the Undisputed movies, he plays the character of Boyka. And he's also just done a ton of like being a stunt double for Hollywood stars in action movies. He plays the gangster Killa, I think his name is, who John Wick is sent to kill, as that will make him a part of this family, which will give him the ability to challenge this character, the Marquis, who we'll talk about in a minute, played by Bill Skarsgård. But he goes to this guy Killa, and I just love this entire scene. I just think it's so fun. It's so kind of fun, like tongue and cheek, and a little bit kind of goofy at times, but you have this like huge hulking guy Killa, who's like this very like generic, almost comic booky villain, and then you bring in John Wick into the scene, you bring in Kane, played by Donnie Yen, and you get the character of Mr. Nobody, or the Tracker, and you just have all four of these characters in this scene. And I don't know why, maybe it was just me, but seeing Killa shuffle, the way he shuffled the cards and the way that he spread them across the table, it was just like one of the smoothest things I had ever seen. Like the way that he's able to just maneuver those cards and shuffle them, super just aesthetically pleasing. But I don't know if you like that scene or not, or if it came across as too goofy to you, but I like when these movies...
It's definitely goofy. Like
But do you like it? Because I like when these movies get a little bit goofier. Like I've said that since the first one. I like when these movies don't take themselves too seriously and just have fun with it. And this kind of ties into, because what ends up happening is they play cards, and they all suspect that Killa cheats and wins, and then this huge kind of shootout takes place, and you get this crazy club chase scene, where there's like, it's like one of these, the craziest club I've ever seen, where there's like water pouring down in certain spots.
There's all types of waterfalls and shit, and
which provides some really kind of fun visuals, though, especially towards the tail end of that, when John gets into that kind of fist fight with Killa. And I love that fight scene. It kind of reminds me of a way that like Daredevil would fight Kingpin in his TV show, because you just have this like huge hulking strong presence versus like a smaller but like more agile foe.
I was not expecting him to be that much of like a threat to John in the fight.
Like
the dude was like throwing roundhouse kicks and shit.
He's like, and that's where it's like a little bit like you can tell it's a guy in a fat suit, is because like he is like unreasonably agile for a guy that size.
I think the fat suit took me out of it a little bit, but overall, like I still did like the scene. Like I didn't have much of a problem with the scene within the story, but the fat suit, I was kind of like, all right, are they just trying to be like goofy here? Like it was almost a little distracting.
Yeah.
But dude, the dancing was off the charts nonstop. Just off the, like, I mean, it's not like it's not noticeable. And the thing is, they would stop sometimes, look, and then the next like cut, they would be dancing.
They're still dancing.
Yeah.
Again, like you, I think you highlighted it in the last episode when we were talking about the first two. But these people just, they fucking love to dance, man. I don't know. Maybe they grew up in like the Footloose town and they're just like getting it out of their system now. But no, it is funny. I don't know. It's almost like a consistent thing though that happens in this universe, that like everybody who's not involved in these shootouts is just so blissfully unaware of what's going on in their surroundings. Like you brought up that like you didn't like that scene in the second one where him and Common are just like walking and shooting each other from a distance. Nobody notices anything. And I know it's like a common trope in action movies that like silencers in movies make it sound like there's no gun sound at all, but in real life like a silencer does not mute a pistol that much, or at least not in the way that movies show them. But it's so funny because they're just shooting each other from a distance and the bullets are missing, so they're presumably hitting other objects around them. And not a single person like screams or points anything out. Same with this movie. Like John is going around a club and just shooting people in the face like consistently, and not a single person is ever like, oh hey, like oh my god, someone's dead. They just keep, there will be a body lying on the floor with a bullet hole in their head, blood everywhere on the ground, and these people will dance around the body. It is but it's almost like it's so funny, and I don't know, I like it. Is it stupid? Yeah, but I don't know, I think the movies just kind of lean into that. Another Game of Thrones, I was gonna say just quickly, another Game of Thrones alum, Natalia Tena, who plays what's her character in Game of Thrones? Oh, she's also in Harry Potter. Nymphadora.
Tonks.
Yeah, Tonks is in this movie. As she's the one who tasked John with killing Killa so that he can become a part of their family. But I'd like to bring up a character that I was curious about, because this is another character that I just did not enjoy the first time that I watched it, which is crazy because I'm such a fan of him as an actor. But that is Bill Skarsgård as the Marquis in this film.
Oh, you didn't like him?
I did not like him the first time around. I just did not find his presence menacing. I thought he was a weak inclusion comparatively to the previous films. But this time around, I personally really, really dug his character and was really enjoying the kind of weird, charming charisma that he was kind of bringing to the movie.
So I do like him a lot. I was kind of seeing that same thing, though, from people. There's a good amount of people I don't think like him in this movie. I think some people really hate his accent. Like they say he does a terrible French accent, I guess.
I would not know.
I can't really pinpoint that, so I don't really know. I can't really criticize that. But I'm trying to understand kind of like the kind of villain he is, because he comes across as like a spoiled, kind of like cocky guy that like. So I'm wondering why they choose him as like the guy that they're going to give all their resources to stop John Wick. You know?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really think too much on that.
Because I like that kind of villain, though. I like that kind of villain that's like very arrogant and like almost just kind of like, I don't know, just very spoiled and has, I don't know if they're played right, where it's like they're not really threatening that much in terms of like their physical appearance, but like they're kind of like sadistic a little bit.
They're threatening because they're kind of volatile. Like they're unpredictable. Yeah. You're not sure what they're going to do. And I think Skarsgård does that in this movie pretty well. I think specifically to that scene with him and the tracker, where he's offering the tracker money to go after John Wick, and to kind of be convinced of his conviction and his, I guess, as they say in the movie, dedication to the cause. When they shake hands, Bill Skarsgård grabs the tracker's hand, slams it on a table, and puts a knife between it, and gives him kind of this choice, like you can either pull the knife out with your other hand, or you can pull your hand out of the knife, which will prove you to me. And he does the second, and they show it, and it is not fun to look at. Not quite as bad as
the edited version of that.
No, I rented, I just, I said fuck it, and I rented the fourth one on Amazon Prime. I'd like to get all four of these movies on 4K at some point. I'm not sure if they have, like, 4K releases, but I don't know. I feel like they would look really good on my TV. But, no, that aside, I just think this movie does a lot better of a job not a lot better, but a significantly better job than all of the previous ones in just making the film lengthy, but also packing it with just entertainment. Like I said, I think even the non-action scenes in this one are just more interesting. I actually really like the dynamic between Donnie Yen's character and John Wick in this movie.
Yeah.
He kind of has like this personal angle, and also Donnie Yen is a beast in these fight scenes. He is like, John is really smooth with a gun, and he's very, precise, but when he's fighting, it's a little bit more grisly. It's a little bit more kind of barbaric. Like, there's still precision, but the way that Donnie Yen fights all
it's so
around,
slick.
it is smooth like butter. It is it is just so crisp and precise in everything, and he's got like this little kind of flair and style to it too, where it's like John just kills to kill, like he just kills, gets it out of the way, but Donnie Yen has like a little bit of like, I don't know, like a little bit of spice to it,
Yeah, like he looks like he's enjoying every ounce of that fight.
Yeah.
John Wick looks like a man that's driven to just proceed to the next task or win the fight.
Yeah.
Donnie's just kind of like, yeah, he's chewing up that fight. He's savoring every like ounce of it.
I even like before he gets involved in the kind of assault on, because what ends up happening is the Grand Marquis also approaches Donnie Yen and is like, listen, I need you to go after John Wick. And so they go after him when he goes to visit Hiroyuki Sanada's character at the Osaka Continental. And then you get kind of like this assault on the Osaka Continental. And it's such a great action sequence too. You kind of get the introduction of bow and arrows. Like a lot of the Osaka Continental guards, including Hiroyuki's daughter in the film, she uses a bow and arrow. And it is just, again, like, it's another just cool addition to these movies. Like, you got knife throwing in the last one. Now you got bow and arrows. It's just like, I don't know. They know how to add more. No, dude, the nunchuck part is awesome. Like,
so this one, because you kind of talked about it. You kind of said it in the last movies that it kind of feels like a little video gamey. This one very much feels like a video game, like the whole way through, and it doesn't really hurt it. It kind of just makes it like more of like a fun journey, adventure kind of thing. But my God, does it feel like just different levels that you're kind of going into? But it's just like it's a blast to experience. I think
they have fun with it. Like, I think easily the most video gamey sequence in the entire movie is the stairs fight scene, like the stairway fight scene. I think that one is the most where it feels like a character working his way through a level, and it's still incredibly well done, and I like kind of how that whole scene plays out and how it's kind of wrapped up, but kind of moving a little bit backwards and kind of going back to an earlier action scene, one that I was actually able to look up a little bit of information on and see how they were able to do it, because it kind of ties back to something that we were talking about in regards to the earlier movies in this franchise. And it's how, like, I think that in the later movies they do a little bit of a better job of creatively putting the characters in situations where they can't just go at each other directly. There is, like, there's that scene where, in the third one where the kids cross between Zero and John and all that stuff. But in this one, it's the roundabout scene. So they're in Paris, and they chase John to this huge, and they'd done research, and this is actually the busiest roundabout in all of Paris, because Paris is where this whole kind of climax takes place. But the way that they were able to film it, because it all looks really, really good. Like, the way that it's basically this huge 8-lane roundabout, and John is fighting these henchmen in the midst of all of this, and it never stops for a beat, and there's just so many cars, and there's just so much chaos, but it's all just like contained in a really, really well done way. But the way that they filmed it is that in the studio, or I wasn't sure if it was it was actually on the location. Each lane in the circle of the 8 lanes, they had a different colored cone, and the one lane was specifically blue cones, which was the hero cone, which would be the one that John Wick would be in. And so in all 7 of the other lanes, they had them marked by different cones, and the cars knew which lanes to go around in. and then just in post-production they digitally removed each of the colored cones. And they said that John Wick, when he's in the car in those sequences, he was driving around 55 to 60 miles per hour. So like obviously in the film it looks like they're going like 80, 90, but still pretty fast even for like stunt work.
Oh yeah.
And one thing too is like they talked about, in terms of like preparation for the role. Like I know we talked about how much prep work he put into the first movie and the subsequent ones, but in this one they had to do a lot of training with him in the car. And one of the decisions that they did creatively, which really just add to the overall authenticity of it, is during that one sequence, both of the car doors, both of the front seat car doors, the driver's seat and the passenger seat are removed. So you see Keanu from all the angles. You see him through the windshield, you see him through both the cars, and it's because they did all that prep work of Keanu. Like there's that one scene where he slides the car at a slow enough pace to like grab the gun off the ground. All practical, like not CGI. Like he actually did that. There's like a behind the scenes shot of it, which is like,
wow.
Like, how do you even do that as a human? Like he's drifting a car. Like that's what they said. They said they spent like weeks training him how to drift a car and to do it cleanly. And again, another just testament to how much effort and dedication he put into these movies and roles. But
yeah, it really, like we said in like even the first one, it really pays off to be able to do those long takes where you don't see any of those cuts. It really just it makes it just a lot more enjoyable and realistic for like the viewer to watch. But let's talk about the suits. The fucking suits, man.
The Marquis suits.
Oh no! Well, his suits were magnificent. Those were beautiful.
I was gonna say I loved them.
All the henchman suits, dude. How many bullets can they fucking take?
So many.
They don't even have to like block. They're just like getting shot in the back.
You might as well just tell me that this movie is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they have like vibranium built into these suits, because
then
like,
I would believe it.
They're just like bouncing off like it's nothing. Even to the point where John uses it as a shield. Like John is running around and running away from people shooting at him, and he'll just cover his face with the side of his jacket.
It's like the bat cape.
It's it's like that effective of a defense mechanism. Yeah, I love those parts. I gotta talk about it. Maybe the best action scene in the entire franchise and one of the greatest action scenes of all time. The overhead tracking shot through the house with John having the dragon breath shotgun.
So that was the scene that was like real inspired Chad the most from a video game called Kong King. Wait, is it King Kong Massacre or Kong? Why did I write it like that? Did I write it wrong? Hang on. Yeah, so he was inspired by this video game that has like that same exact shot.
Yeah.
And they showed like a clip of the video game, but yeah. I wanted to know if this like kind of distracted you though from that, because it's such a gorgeous shot and sequence and like coordination and all that. But I thought I remembered it being a little longer, and I guess I didn't remember that it like cut in the middle of that shot. I forget what it cuts to. It like cuts to something with the tracker, I think, and then it cuts back to like the top shot, and it like continues again through. I don't know if something must have happened like in that sequence that like kind of they had to like cut it, like say cut, or like.
It makes me think, because I don't think that ruins it at all. I really enjoy that entire sequence. Like I have zero flaws with it other than that it's just a marvelously filmed scene.
Yeah.
Super creative, super well done, looks incredible. I love the whole inclusion of the dragon breath shotgun. It's like a weapon that I've been a fan of since I think it's one of the Call of Duty Black Ops games. I think it was Black Ops 1. It had the dragon breath shotgun in it, and I always just thought it was the coolest thing. In real life, it ruins shotguns, like using those kind of shells. Like it's so bad for them. But it looks so cool in the movie.
Before I forget, Hong Kong Massacre. There was the
Hong
video
Kong
game.
Massacre. No King Kong.
No King Kong.
No giant monkey.
But I wrote I just wrote Gong Kong. I was like, that's not right. That's definitely not what it's called. Did I?
Not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. But that looks amazing. Do you think the CGI looked pretty good for like the shots?
Yeah, I think so.
Because some people hated it, some people liked it.
like, listen, would I prefer scenes that don't have any CGI and look just as good? Yes. But there are times where you need to use a little bit of CGI to add a little bit of flavor to the fight scenes. It just happened recently. The first 2-3 episodes of Daredevil Born Again have aired, and in the first episode, there's a fight scene that I particularly enjoyed. I thought it was well done. I thought it had some nice flavor and sauce to it. Some people had some issues with the CGI, and I get that. I'm not going to say that someone's like in the wrong for criticizing the CGI, but it also reminds me of David Fincher. There's a lot of like camera shots in David Fincher movies, I think like specifically in movies like Zodiac, that are unnatural, completely unrealistic camera movements that you couldn't physically get with a real shot, and it's only done through post-production, but it still looks really cool in the movie. And I think I apply that to this scene in John Wick. I think the creativity and the just the effort put into that scene, the choreography alone, I think it outweighs, some noticeable CGI. But that's just me.
Then so you gotta like kind of tell me what you things you might not have liked that you'd like now. Like, did you like this scene when you first saw it?
Yeah, this scene stood out like a lot. I think this is undeniably a fucking amazing action scene. I had no issues with the action. I already brought up a couple things this time around that I really enjoyed that kind of elevated it above the previous 3 movies for me that I didn't love the first time around. I've already talked about like some of the characters, the tracker character, even the villain, Bill Skarsgård's Marquis, I really enjoyed. I'll tell you, the first time around, I hated that the climax of this movie was just a pistol duel between Donnie Yen and
That's the main criticism
Keanu.
I remember from you.
Yeah, I thought it was so underwhelming, and this time around, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I just came around on it. Again, I would like to really highlight, guys, I was just in like a not great state of mind when I saw this movie in theaters, and I've been looking forward to revisiting it, and it really held up upon rewatch and even improved a lot of elements. But yeah, I don't know. I thought, because the first time that I remember watching these movies, I didn't have an issue with the first movie. I didn't have an issue with how serious it took itself. I thought it was as cool as it thought it was. And now I do have issues with that. And I thought that the cheesier, more kind of cheeky moments of the sequels were bad and ruined the world. But now I've kind of grown to the point where I like when the movies kind of have fun with some of the elements. I like when they're a little comedic and they're a little, they're not afraid to add a little bit of levity to the films, even though they're super brutal and violent. So I don't know. It's just a change of heart, I guess.
Was there
I'm a different man?
Were there any criticism that you had that kind of stuck with you, or were there any criticisms you had now that you didn't think of before?
So the one big one is probably the obvious one for anybody that knows me. Despite me thinking that this has the best pacing of the 4, it is still too long. This movie does not need to be 2 hours and 50 minutes long, give or take the credits. I think you could make this movie 2 hours and 25 minutes, maybe even 2.5 hours, shave off a good amount of time, and you probably get a more, kind of tight-knit, compact film. I don't think most movies need to be anywhere near 3 hours unless you're telling like a very, very grand story, or you're showing me a movie like The Godfather, which is grand in what it's trying to do, but still feels personal and is like still a very personal story. Hell, I love The Irishman. That's 3.5 hours, but that's a movie that I think the length services it. I don't want my action movies to be nearly 3 hours because that's just going to keep me from putting it on a lot of the times. But so that's probably the biggest one. And what was the other question? Complaints that I have this time that I didn't have last time. I'll tell you what, I liked The Contractor more. I hate his stupid little book because they never explain what the fuck the book is about. Why does he have pictures of John Wick in it?
How does he get all that info in there? I was kind of like...
That's my issue. Really it's never explained. I like his character. I like his presence, but that part really does bother me.
That kind of goes into some of my issues with the Tracker also, is that it just feels kind of like lazily thrown. We're at the 4th movie by now, and it's such a random character to get shoved into the middle of the story and have like such a pretty big role in this story, but also not fit in the story. It's just a guy that is trying to kill him for what everyone else is trying to do to get the money.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
not it's
I
not
agree,
motivated.
yeah.
It's not there's no motive that's that strong for him to be this deep in the story.
The thing that I kind of enjoyed about his character this time around was that I love that he has John Wick dead to rights a couple of the times in the film, but he's just waiting for the contract money to get higher
Yeah.
and higher. I think that's kind of like a fun little addition to his character. And I like the way that, I don't know, I'll have to look into that actor a little bit more. I just kind of like the way he carried himself in this movie and just kind of his, facial expressions and stuff. But I feel like there was another thing that I had an issue with. It's a minor thing. It's a nitpick. Probably doesn't hurt my score. I love some of those sunsets and some of those skylines, but some of them looked like very heavy digital replaced skylines.
Well, do you know which one specifically like pointed out? Or
The one that stood out that looked a little fake to me was when John is basically, and again, big spoilers, guys, if you're still some reason listening, when John Wick is dying on the stairs, you get like a really big wide shot, and the skyline of that, it just looked a little artificial to me, and didn't quite hold up.
The one sunrise is I was reading a little bit about this in the very beginning when he's in the desert is 100% real. That was all in location.
Yeah, that looked real. Yeah,
and that was the same area as Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know what scene exactly in Lawrence, but they also do like a little nod to it when they do the same exact cut when the Bowery King blows out the candle and it transitions into the sunrise. That same cut is what they do in Lawrence of Arabia. So it's like a little reference there.
One of my local theaters is playing that movie in the theater, and I'm so very tempted.
If I had a chance to see it in the theaters, that's because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I would love to see it.
It's in that
theaters.
that little crappy theater in Wing Gap.
No.
Oh, okay. It's like if you're heading away from like the main area of Wing Gap with like all the fast food places.
Well,
like in the opposite
what company
direction.
is it?
I don't know. It's like it's not a company. It's like a small little theater.
Actually, I might know what you're talking about. Does it look really run down?
Yes.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
They've switched. They're under new ownership, I think, and their whole thing now is playing like old movies. They don't play like new releases.
Ooh,
so I know I'm kind
good.
of. I think they're playing like Halloween there soon too.
Damn.
I know. I'm tempted. But no, kind of bringing things back to John Wick, Chapter 4. Yeah, so again, the sky replacement was like a minor nitpick that I had. I might be completely wrong. It just looked too orange. Maybe it was just the color correction, but some of it just looked like digital sky replacement, which is not a bad thing. I don't really care. They do it in color out of space, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't really have too many issues with this movie. I thought the pacing was really great. I thought all of these are like my favorite additions in terms of like side characters. Like I enjoyed Zero in the last movie. I liked Halle Berry's character. In the second one, I like Common. Ruby Rose is kind of fun, but as a whole, you just get so much more in this movie. I love Keela. I love Donnie Yen's character Kane. I love every time I see Hiroyuki Sanada in a movie, it's just a treat. He's just such a great actor with just decades of experience under his belt, both in like acting and like martial arts movies. Same with Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen's been doing this for a long fucking time, and he's still kicking ass in these movies. I just can't get over how fluid his fighting style is. It's just so aesthetically pleasing. Every time you watch it, it's like watching those like soap cutting videos on YouTube. Like you're just like, man.
I love when he
just
does
watch this for days.
those little sword jabs, the like quick jabs to the chest. They're so fun.
You know what scene makes me laugh so hard with him? It's when he's fighting the one guy, and I think it's like they're in like the kitchen, and he like speed punches the guy in the face with both hands like 15 times.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
He does the wind up punch, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just fucking great. I don't know if I brought it up, but I think I did a little bit, and then I think I just forgot about it. But it's when they're doing the assault on the Osaka Continental, and like the fight's fully happening, and like people are shooting each other, and Donnie Yen is just off in the corner like eating noodles, like
yeah.
And the one henchman is like, "Hey, blind man, do what you're paid for." Yeah. I'm trying to think of other kind of things to. How do you feel about the whole stair sequence? I know we kind of talked about it being video gamey, but I like the whole thing. I like how John like has to keep fighting his way up this huge amount of staircases. I actually like how that whole assassin sequence, like all of them, whether it's the roundabout, the stair one, it's kind of narrated by that woman over the radio, and you never get like a full look at her. You just see the lower half of her face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. That's fun. I like the scene overall. Again, you know me, you know what I'm gonna say. Just the fucking like falls down 220 steps, and it's so aggressive too. But not just like the realism in it, dude. It's tough to watch him make it up the top of the steps just to fall down the whole fucking flight.
The whole sequence starts with the radio announcer lady saying that good luck climbing these 250 steps, and then it's not like he just walks up it. He has to fight his way and shoot his way up these steps, gets to the top, and then just unfortunately gets knocked back down, like Josh said, in like a very brutal fashion. But I love the way the rest of the sequence plays out, because you get the tracker and you get Donnie Yen helping him out, and then it's like all three of them teaming up and fighting their way up the hill, which. You know, you get that henchman who gets his comeuppance for trying to kill the tracker's dog.
Oh yeah, I like nuts. I like the nuts signal that he gives his dog.
Dude, you know what kind of grossed me out? So Donnie Yen and John Wick beat that henchman, like the main henchman, and he's down for the count. And I love Donnie Yen's little line, though, because the guy's like, you can't kill me, because Donnie Yen's like working for his boss, and Donnie Yen's like, yeah, and then beats the shit out of him, and he's like, but I can hit you. No, he says, but I can hit you, motherfucker.
Yeah, yep.
It's so good. But moving on from that, I love right after that, that's when the tracker and his dog show up, and he shoots the guy in the head, and then after that, his dog pisses on the guy.
Yeah.
Like way to add insult to injury. Get shot in the head and get pissed on by the guy's dog.
All right, I wanted to talk about like a critique I had. That's why I was kind of like asking like if you had any, but I don't like how some of these scenes are written in terms of like the rules of the world. It feels like sometimes they just add more in that like you never heard of before. It almost feels like they were just I don't know, like force feeding them in.
Any specifics?
Yeah. So when he goes to, first off, I like the duel, but the rule of the duel came out of nowhere. They never talk about this ever before. He could just challenge whoever from the high table and just get everything waived if he wins. It felt very simple. And it seems like Winston is just telling him these new rules that John's never heard of before, but John's like this like master in this like world. So sometimes it just feels like they're adding like more and more, and it's like, how has this never been mentioned before? And I get honestly, like, this series I think plays out in the span of like a month probably. Like I think
it's like 2 weeks. I think it's even less.
From the first to the second, I think is like a week, and then probably like a few weeks at most.
I actually have the full timeline. Continue talking though.
Yeah, it does give you the timeline.
Someone on Reddit does.
Yeah. So that, and then the lead into that, one of the rules within the duel is that you need to have a sponsor. So that's why John Wick goes to Tonks. I forget her name in the movie. But
Katia, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'll go with that.
All right.
So he goes to the Ruscaroma where he came from, where he got his ticket torn. So he's like kind of like banned from there. And it just seems so easy where it's like, oh, if you kill the guy that killed our leader, then we'll be your sponsor. And it just felt like, it almost felt like there was no consequence to his actions. It was like very easily mended. So that was like a main thing, is that they I think they just like throw in just these made up rules at this point.
That's fair.
But also the fact that John doesn't know all this. But not just the fact of putting in rules, but the rule itself kind of makes me a little mad that like it's so easy. You can just challenge someone from the high table to a duel that you'll probably win.
I think I don't mind it because I think they do a decent job at like kind of explaining it, because when it's first brought up, like John is like fully prepared to kill the Marquis, and that's when Winston is kind of like, listen, buddy, if you're gonna do it the right way, do it above board and do it through like this duel challenge, and then you can ask for your freedom. And the way John responds is basically by saying that's a myth. And that's when Winston is significantly older than John, so I'm kind of okay buying into the fact that just because everybody in this world is in this world does not mean that everybody has the same amount of knowledge and information. And it would make sense that a member or a manager of the Continental would have more of the knowledge of this world than John Wick, who is like, again, like the master assassin. But, you know, Winston, it just makes sense to me that he would have this knowledge.
I can buy into that.
Yeah, so I'm not too, like, you know, mad about that sort of stuff.
Withholding it for this long also bothers me.
Where it's beforehand, who would John have challenged? Like,
I don't know. Anyone. Apparently, you could challenge whoever.
I did have a question, because this is something that I coming kind of full circle to that question you asked me earlier about criticisms that I had. Was one that my writing partner you met, Matt, we both shared that one. How do you feel with the fact that the film opens up with John killing the Elder immediately? Like within the first 3 minutes, he shoots the Elder in the head. Like, does that feel like a little bit of a letdown? Because I know you're someone who, when watching a film, if they build up a character in a certain way or paint them in a certain light, and then they're just kind of thrown to the wayside or killed off quickly, it does kind of bother you. And they kind of spend a lot of the third movie building up the Elder as like this figure who's just so much above everybody else. And then to just open this movie up with him just dying immediately.
I guess I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't like find it distracting or anything. But
because in the third movie, they say specifically, you don't find the Elder finds you. And then in this movie, John pretty quickly finds the Elder.
Yeah, but like, what's the consequence there? It seems like it seems like he's just already in such deep shit that like it can't get any worse. But like,
well, it felt
after
like
he kills him.
In each one, they kind of raised the stakes, right? Because in the second one, a good contract is put out on him. You know, it's like $7 million. And then he gets excommunicated in the, you know, at the end of the second one, leading into the third. Now he's got every assassin in New York after him, and anybody can kill him. Now, not only that, but in the fourth one, he has the High Table after him. They're kind of loosely after him in the third one, but in the fourth one, they make a heavy point to say that the Marquis has the full resources of the High Table to throw at John Wick, which doesn't matter. And that's why I think, like, initially I was disappointed, because I was like, out of all the people that John Wick has killed in the last 4 movies, to end with him dying in a duel seemed a little off. But this time around, I don't know. It worked better for me. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Dune Part 2. I'm all for the duels now.
So is the High Table after him strictly because of the like killing of the Elder?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I definitely don't buy into them getting the Marquis. Like, who is the Marquis and why is he so like entitled to being in this position?
He just seems like another servant of the High Table.
Can't they get better? One that can like fight or like fight his own battles? I mean, he doesn't do anything.
He stabs the contractor through the hand, but
yeah.
I don't like him because he's like a physical threat. I just think he's like a fun presence in the movie.
No, I think
him. Skarsgård's giving a fun performance.
It's hard to believe that the High Table doesn't have anyone a little bit
better.
I
mean, like throughout the other movies, like the main bad person isn't like the one that John's trying to get to. They're not always like the most physical imposing threat, you know. And in the second, like in each one, there's always like a character who he has to face, like Zero or Common or Ruby Rose. There's always those characters that are like introduced, but the person above them is usually not like a physical threat. And that's kind of how I feel about this one too. Like the Marquis isn't though he is really, really fucking tall, because when he's standing like next to, there's like a shot where it's Donnie Yen, John Wick, Ian McShane, and Bill Skarsgård, you know, when they're, you know, I think the duel's about to happen, and Bill Skarsgård is just like so much taller than the other three.
Yeah, how tall is he actually? Like, I can't imagine he's more than like 6'4", right?
Yeah, I'd probably say 6'3", 6'4". That's like, I mean, I wonder how tall he is in Nosferatu, or how tall that character is canonically.
Let me see here. He's 6'3.5".
Okay.
All right.
So we're both kind of right there.
Yeah. So let me see here. Do you have an issue with the lack of presence from the Bowery King?
No.
No?
I think that Lawrence Fishburne in these movies is best used when he's used seldomly. I think he's a very fun little show up, say some cool stuff, have like a fun little dialogue exchange with John Wick, and then dips.
It felt
I
like
that
they
he
built
kinda,
him up a little bit, like in the ending of the third one.
I mean, you think that he dies, so the fact that he's even alive is kind of a miracle.
No, because they show him he's at the very end.
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
third
you're
one.
right. I mean, I don't know. I was fine. I was fine with what they chose to focus on in this movie. I love the whole, like, John trying to clear his name, the complication with this kind of, you know, his complicated history or dynamic with Donnie Yen, and, you know, Donnie Yen's fighting for his daughter. I think that's who he's, right? His daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I hate that he gets shot in the stomach. You know me with my stomach shots.
Oof, yeah, I
It's
know.
death.
He kind of got shot to like the side of the stomach though, so maybe it was just like a flesh wound.
Well, John Wick gets shot in the stomach, I think, a couple times throughout this movie.
Well, yes, he does. Yes, he does. How do you feel about how John kind of tricks the Marquis into getting killed? Like, were you fine? I was fine with it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, he's fucking stupid, but, you know.
I love, he is, and that's like, I love a good arrogant villain. I love
Yeah.
a good villain whose downfall is their own ego, and that's why I love Ian McShane's line. What does he say? Like, you idiot. He
says like, you arrogant. I don't know what he calls him. He says you arrogant something.
You arrogant something. He didn't fire, and John Wick just boom shoots him in the head.
Now, do
Very
you think him
satisfying.
and Kane had that planned out? Do you think?
No,
You don't think John, like, because he didn't.
no, because
Okay.
I don't think John would willingly die. He's kind of spent the last like 4 movies trying not to die actively.
Yeah, but I don't know. They have that conversation in the church. I don't know if he like kind of. Like,
That's a great scene. I
Yeah.
really like that scene with him and Kane in the church. Not only because I think it looks fantastic, like the lighting is just really nice, but I just love that. How does it start? Like,
says
saying
he-
goodbyes,
Yeah.
saying
He says
goodbyes,
saying hello.
saying hello. Yeah, it's a nice little. Again, I really like their dynamic because you get characters throughout these movies that are familiar with John Wick, but it really feels like in this movie they brought in characters that he has like a real relationship or dynamic with, whether it is Hiroyuki Sanada's character who's willing to die for him, which again we talked about that scene briefly, but I love Donnie Yen versus Hiroyuki Sanada. I think that it was kind of like very reminiscent to me of the fight with is it Oren Ishii in the first Kill Bill movie, where they're just kind of yeah, either way.
I haven't seen that in so long.
Oh, I love Kill Bill 1 and 2. They're just those are fun action movies.
I don't know. I was kind of thinking that like John Wick almost did that on purpose, because then if he didn't, I don't buy into that either. I don't buy on his third shot he doesn't raise his gun fast enough.
He saved well. I think John planned that. I don't think that like
Okay, no, that's what I'm. Yeah, maybe they didn't have a conversation, but
I think I don't think Donnie Yen was a part of it. I think John planned to take the bullet to save the one for the Marquis because he knew that he would be arrogant
All
and
right,
wanted
yeah,
to be the
that's
one
fair.
to kill him. So I think
maybe they
that
didn't
was
plan-
like John's
yeah.
plan.
Okay.
But I mean that kind of is like a nice kind of wrapping up point. Unless we have more to say, but I just have a question. Do you think that John is actually dead? Because there is currently talks of a John Wick 5.
No.
I think
I
he's
don't.
dead, and I think he should stay dead.
Yeah, well, what I think he should be doesn't really line up with what I'm seeing is on pace.
I think this is a really good conclusion to
Yes.
this series. I don't
agree.
think I want any more.
But they're gonna give us more. That's the thing.
it sucks because it's like I know whatever they do next, I'm sure there will be amazing action sequences and really cool set pieces, but like, and not to say that these movies are movies that you go into for the story. I like some of the world building and I like some of the side characters and stuff, but it's mainly the action. But I just feel like in terms of like another John Wick movie, I don't know what much left there is to explore. And I just feel like this is a nice, closure point. I like how this movie wraps up.
And I don't know how you kind of unravel what you already like seemingly wrapped up. I don't know how you unravel it back to make it like believable. But the series is not really focused on being believable at this point. With this ridiculousness.
What I do love is what I love about these 4 movies, and it's a kind of a great like just full circle thing, is I love like the snowball effect. Like John Wick was out, he was retired, he went back into that world to get revenge on someone who took something away from him, which led to a person from his past coming to ask for a favor, which just sends him down this rabbit hole. And I love how just each movie just snowballs into the other. But it feels like the snowball stops here. I just don't see what you could do. They didn't even have this movie planned. Originally, I think it was only planned as a trilogy. And while I think they did a good job of continuing the story in this one, I don't know what like natural way. And I'm sure some people out there would probably would be like, "Oh, I'd love to see a prequel about the task he does to get out of there." I don't need to see that. I don't. You know how it's going to end. He's going to kill all the guys, the end. Like there's nothing that movie could do to surprise you.
So do they make it? Do they make it into like Winston covering him up? Like
I don't know. It would be weird.
Yeah.
And then that like whole cemetery like funeral scene at the end with Lawrence Fishburne and Ian McShane kind of goes out the window. Oh, we didn't talk about another character that dies. Sharon gets shot.
I was not expecting that.
No, and like his final words are just so heartbreaking, and maybe it just hits harder now because Lance Reddick himself has passed away, but him saying it was an honor as he's dying from the bullet wound was I don't want to say it got me choked up, but it got me in my feels a little bit. He's been he's been a good companion to John throughout these movies, kind of stood by him, and I love him in that 3rd movie.
Dude, it's wild that he died like a week right after filming. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate, but great actor. If you guys haven't checked out The Wire, he is fantastic in The Wire. Also, if you haven't seen his Eric Andre interview, that's a really funny little snippet too. I don't particularly have any other thoughts. I'm not sure if there's other criticisms you have or.
No, no other criticisms really. I mean, overall though, they just. I mean, we couldn't really say it enough. This movie just takes what was done before and just takes it just takes it up another notch or another few notches, honestly. And regardless of it getting more ridiculous, it's kind of like expected. It's almost like a charm to the movies at this point. But no, I was not expecting like the artistic element of this movie, like in just how good the frames looked. But do I have any like? Wait, so how do you feel about the tracker at the end during the duel?
I'm fine with it.
Really?
I like his little reactions.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah.
I like that we get like different kind of not protagonists, because obviously John Wick is the protagonist, but I like that we get just like different variations of characters in this film. You get a character like John, who's doing his kind of thing. You get a character like Kane, who is doing this for his daughter, and then you get a guy like the Tracker, who's kind of doing it for himself, but then John Wick spares his life and saves his dog, and that kind of earns his respect. And I don't know. It's more so like I agree with you. If you take out his character, you don't really lose anything in the film. But I do like his inclusion. Like I like the scenes that he's in. I just like the way that actor portrays the character. But yeah, I don't mind him being in that final fight. I like his reaction to John Wick tricking the Marquis.
Yeah.
He kind of has just like a genuine, just like, oh shit, like that was good kind of reaction. But overall, yeah. I don't have many flaws in this movie. It's not a flawless movie, but it does just enough to entertain. But also, like Josh said, it's really well done. There's some like really gorgeously framed shots in this movie. The action is just so well filmed, well choreographed. It easily has the best action of the franchise. It has the most action in the franchise. And I think even the quieter moments that don't focus on guns or sword fights are the best handled in this franchise. There's not really a scene in 1, 2, or 3 that is quite as fun or entertaining as the poker scene with the Killa character. Like all 4 of them at the poker table, I just thought was really fun, really just kind of charming and enjoyable. But yeah, any other thoughts, or shall we wrap this up?
Did you stay for the end credits? Either watch?
No, I did not.
Is
there an end credit scene?
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's Kane seeing approaching his daughter who's playing the violin with he has a bouquet of flowers.
Oh.
And Akira, the daughter of Sonata's character, don't remember his name.
I don't remember his character's name in the movie either,
but Akira, I think her name is. You
Yeah.
see this girl. You see the back of her, kind of approaching him as he's walking towards his daughter, and she has a knife in her hand, and she opens. It's like a switchblade. She opens the knife, and it shows her, and then it ends.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was actually one of my notes in the movie during that interaction with Donnie Yen and Hiroyuki Sanada. Is I love after Hiroyuki is defeated, Kane has this moment with what's her name, Akira.
Yeah, Akira.
He has that moment where he's like, I know you're gonna come for me, and I'll see you soon, that kind of thing. And it again weirdly reminds me of Kill Bill 1 when what's her name, Uma Thurman kills Vivica A. Fox's character, and she says something when the daughter arrives in that scene, the little girl Nikki, and she kind of says something like I know you're gonna come for me one day, or something along that lines. But I thought that was a nice little parallel too. But yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, some final brief fun facts that'll take 10 seconds.
Hit me with it.
Keanu says a total of 380 words in this whole movie.
Ooh.
His longest line in the movie is, I think it's to Sonata. I think he says, "You and I left a good life behind long ago, my friend." That is his longest line.
Jeez, John, shut up. A bit wordy, if you ask me.
And in the stair scene, he only uses a stunt double once, and it's on the big fall down.
How much pain do you think Keanu's body is in on a daily basis between this quadrilogy and the Matrix movies? You think he's doing all right?
I think he's got a couple hours of problems each day.
Yeah. Wakes up, knees cracking a little bit.
But yeah, that's all I got for 4. I'm ready to rate if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into those ratings. All right. Do you want to kick it off, or would you like me to?
I can kick off 3. I'm giving John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum a 7.9.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10.
Were you expecting higher or lower from me?
Yeah, I thought this one was going to crack the 8s for you. I do think 3 is a significant improvement over 2.
Well, significant. It's only 0.2 higher for you.
Yeah. Each decimal matters, man. Each decimal matters.
Well, it's 0.3 higher for me.
You got me there. I guess that's over to me then for John Wick Chapter 4. I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 4, no subtitle. I'm going to give that an 8.8 out of 10.
Whoa!
Yeah, I mean, in the realm of action movies, I think it's pretty fantastic. Doesn't quite crack 9 out of 10 for me. Maybe one day it'll get into the 9s, maybe upon another rewatch, but there's really not a lot more you can ask from an action movie. I think any of the problems that you kind of levied against this movie in terms of the believability in the realm of the what happens to the characters. I think you could lobby that at a lot of action movies. So it's just kind of a problem and a trope of the genre. And I love Hot Fuzz, kind of satirizing that element, but I don't think it holds these movies back too much. But yeah, 8.8 out of 10.
This went from like the worst one in Jake's eyes to the best.
Yeah, I know. I had so much fun with it this time around.
I really
honestly,
thought 3 was
going to
be the best for you.
No, I think 3 was my favorite before going into this, but this time around, I was really impressed with it being a 2 hour and 50-minute movie. How much of it just kind of flew by, which was really nice. So, also, guys, I am sorry. I opened my window up at the start of this episode, and it was like a light drizzle, and it is fully downpouring now. So if you hear rain in the background, I hope it doesn't ruin the experience.
Oh, it gives a nice little mood. I can't hear a thing.
It is. I can hear thunder now. It is so loud.
Man, that's nice. I kind of want some rain right now.
We needed it. There's been fires recently.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's been so dry. We haven't had a rain in for like forever. Yeah. So what are you giving John Wick Chapter 4? No subtitle.
I'm gonna give John Wick a solid. I'm gonna go an 8.1 out of 10.
All right, there we go. We finally got one to crack. Okay, yep. But now, Josh, do you see the folly of your Letterboxd account to where you rated 2, 3, and 4, all 4 stars, and only one of them is an 8 out of 10? And do you see how misleading that is?
I don't give a shit.
That's fine. That's fine. And for my sake, can you at least, you don't have to write reviews. Can you just start putting what your score is?
No, you'll have to just ask me if you're curious, and I'll just text you the number.
God. Oh, okay. Then wait. What's your score for After Sun? I'm curious.
11 out of 10.
There's. Okay. Does that actually get a 10 for you?
No. That's like a 9.5 probably.
This is not better than Old Boy. Mm.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, that is just.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not even alone in this. Old Boy is considered one of the greatest movies ever made.
I don't hear that.
Whatever. Fucking ridiculous. All right. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed us listening to the John Wick movies. Me and Josh kind of talked about it. We're really liking splitting up these kind of quadrilogies into 2 episodes. Gives us a little bit of more room to breathe between the episodes. Lets us kind of, bank a couple more episodes a little easier. And it's a little just, a little more enjoyable. You don't have to feel as rushed with talking about the movies.
A lot more digestible, I think, for you guys, too.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments if, some of our recent episodes are just a little bit too daunting for you in terms of, length or what we're covering in one episode. We're kind of a fan of these two movie episodes, the little bit breezier, even though we still have a tendency to go on a bit long, but that's just kind of how we do things here. But let us know if you like the change in format. We're thinking of kind of sticking with it. But either way, guys, thanks again for listening to this episode. Josh, would you like to let the fans know what we are discussing on the next episode of Franchise Deep Dive?
We will be discussing Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. And I don't think Jake has ever been more excited.
I love these movies.
Let me explain here. I just might be more excited than Jake.
That can't possibly be true.
I think I watch these movies much more than Jake realizes.
Do you watch them in the same way that I watch the Scream movies, where it's every 2-3 months you're like, I'm just gonna throw one of them on?
Probably.
That's well, that's fair. I love these movies. Literally earlier he was saying on this episode how I love Sam Raimi too much.
Way too much. And not even love too much. I think you just give too many passes. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's the GOAT. I'm just kidding. Martin Scorsese's the GOAT. With Kubrick, a close second. Yeah. How you like them? How you like them apples?
I don't know. I think I gotta watch more Akira Kurosawa movies. That's what I got.
I've loved what I've seen from Akira Kurosawa. Ingmar Bergman, another one. For number 3 for me is probably Andrei Tarkovsky. I
gotta watch him.
I think I've given him. I think 3 of his movies are 10 out of 10s, which is I don't know if I can say that for many other directors. Weird little tangent on the end there. But yeah, guys, we're talking about the Raimi trilogy next episode, so stay tuned for that. Again, we air every other Tuesday, so you'll get this episode 2 weeks from now. You will get us talking about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. So if you don't want to be spoiled for those movies, go check them out. I think all 3 of them are on Disney Plus currently, so you can check them out there if you don't already own them, or you can rent them and watch them that way. I don't really care. You can pirate them for all I care. I don't care. I don't care. But yeah, Josh, if you want to plug our socials, that would be great.
Yeah, guys, just head on over to Instagram, give us a follow at Franchise Deep Dive. Check out the activity, the posts we give you, and comment, DM us any suggestions, feedback, or criticisms, and we will gladly take them into account.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and if you don't want to do that, send us an email. If you want to just say hi, go for it.
The old-fashioned way.
FranchiseDeepDive@gmail. That'll be our email. But yeah, guys, just stay up to date with us and stay posted.
All right, and before we head out, Josh, I gotta ask you something.
Oh yeah, lay it on me.
Why did the math book look so sad?
Why is that?
Because it had too many problems.
I
got another one for you.
Yeah, you have to.
We'll send us off on a better note. Did you hear about the restaurant on the moon?
I didn't.
Great food, but no atmosphere.
Oh God.
Ooh, those never get old. Until they do. All right, guys, one last time. Check us out next episode where we're talking about Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, James Franco, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Topher Grace. All right, thanks again, guys. That is it for us over at Franchise Deep Dive. Goodbye.
Later.